Check it, bro, Chad.
Sorry.
Ayun. I'll start the introduction after we go live in different groups.
Wala pa ba?
Ayan na, live na. Paki-share na lang sa ibang group bago tayo magsimula.
Okay, okay. Dali lang.
Hindi ko yata kita si Romer sa video. Kita nyo ba?
Dali pa, nagsishare pa ako eh.
Ayan, kita na si Romer. Okay na?
Okay na, go.
Ayun, good afternoon to our Kota. We're here in 6 days, 9 days of solar discussion. Our topic for today is about Sirius Supercapacitor battery. Our speaker is Rani, co-founder of Kilowatts Lab, and we have Sir June Turgo and Bro Joel Remeo. Kindly, if you have a question later, kindly speak English so our speaker can understand your question. Sir Romer, you can take over.
Yes.
Ayun.
Okay. Thank you very
Bro
much.
Dance, if you have something to say, you can do the honor.
Yeah, our speaker is Sir Omer, co-founder of Kilowatts. What's the company name? Kilowatts Lab. Okay, let's give him our time to present the
Kilowatts Lab.
The supercapacitor battery storage. Sir Omer.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Denz. Welcome everybody, and good afternoon to you. I'm broadcasting from Dubai, so welcome to this live webinar. Honestly speaking, this is the first live one I've done, so if I make some mistakes, please forgive me, but I'll try and go at a slow pace so that you can understand and we can overcome the bandwidth issues that we might have. So I think the best thing now, gentlemen and ladies, if there are any, is for me to start my presentation, and I can then take you through the presentation. At the end of the presentation, it's not very long. It should last maybe 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. At the end of the presentation, then I'm open to any questions that you will have, I'm sure, about the products and about how to deploy them and all these things. So I'm just going to switch my screen off and go into share screen. Okay, so Kilowatt Labs manufactures Sirius supercapacitor storage. We are actually the inventors of, so we're the pretty much the only manufacturers of supercap storage in the world. So I'll get into the presentation now. Basically, Sirius modules store energy electrostatically. That means that they store electricity as electricity, whereas chemical batteries, they store energy electrochemically. What that means is that chemical batteries, lead acid, lithium ion, nickel, cadmium, all of them convert electricity into chemical energy, store it in an electrolyte, and then when you discharge it, they, through a chemical reaction, convert that chemical energy into back to electricity. While in supercap storage, there's no such process, and its electricity is stored as electricity both in the charge and discharge cycle. Because Sirius modules are electrostatic storage, they do not have a chemical electrolyte. So that's one fundamental difference between Sirius supercap storage and all chemical batteries. And because the process of storing is electrostatic, there is no chemical reaction that happens in the charge or discharge cycles. So these are the two really major fundamental differences between chemical storage and supercap storage. I'm going to show you now a short video of how we manufacture the supercap battery, and then we can get into more details of how it works. It takes a few minutes to load up. And when it gets going, it's smooth. So just bear with.
Okay, standby lang po habang hinaantay natin yung video na ipi-play ng ating pong speaker.
Maybe while we're waiting for the video to load, maybe if there's any questions that they want to ask during the presentation or the previous slides, baka pwede nyo itanong na. I think Omer got disconnected. Let's just see if Omer is there.
What happened, sir? What happened? Your connection is,
Hello?
yeah, hello.
Sorry, I think I lost everyone.
Yeah, I'm still, oh no, we're still here.
Okay, so I've moved to a different location. Maybe the internet is better here. Let me just get back to the presentation.
Okay, okay, go on.
Can you guys see me? My screen?
Yes, sir. It's visible.
Okay. All right, so let's skip the video. I can send you everyone a link to the YouTube where you can see the video. So I'm just going to start with the presentation again. Sorry about the interruption. So because the Sirius modules don't have a chemical electrolyte, therefore there's no capacity degradation that takes place over the life of the product. So we give a 10-year warranty, and 1 kilowatt hour that you buy on year one is going to give you 1 kilowatt hour at the end of the warranty period. Second thing that happens because you don't have any chemicals in there, or you don't have a chemical electrolyte, is that you have no fire risk, you have no risk of thermal runaway, which is a big risk in a lot of chemical batteries. So it's very safe. The third area is that because you don't have a chemical electrolyte, the concept of depth of discharge doesn't exist. So whatever is the capacity, so basically Sirius is always operating on 100% depth of discharge. So the nameplate capacity of the Sirius module is always going to be the usable capacity, which is different from chemical batteries, which have different depth of discharge between 50% and 80%, depending on the battery that you use. In addition, because you don't have so these are the advantages you get for not because there's no chemical electrolyte. And then the advantages that you get because there's no chemical reaction taking place, it's a straightforward electricity to electricity storage. You are not affected by heat. So Sirius operates very comfortably up to 55 degrees centigrade. The other real big advantage that you get for no chemical reaction is that Sirius does not generate heat when it's cycling. All chemical batteries, when they cycle between charge and discharge, they generate heat. The faster you charge and discharge them, the more heat they will generate. So you need extra cooling and things like that. Again, because there's no chemical reaction, you can achieve very high C rates with Sirius. On our standard solar plus storage modules, you can easily charge and discharge at about 1.5 to 2 C, which no chemical battery is able to deliver. And again, because there's no chemical reaction taking place, there are no heat losses, and therefore the round trip efficiency of Sirius is always above 97, 98%, slightly varying depending on the conditions of the cables and this and that of the environment. So just to repeat, you get no capacity degradation. It's very safe. There's no risk of thermal runaway. 100% capacity is always available in the entire life cycle of the product. You can operate it till 55 degrees C with no problems. There's no heat generated during cycling. You have high C rate functionality, so you can charge it and discharge it between 1.5 and 2 C without losing capacity or cycle life. And you have a very highly efficient round trip efficiency. So how does this benefit customers? You know, all these features and advantages must benefit customers. So obviously, when you have no degradation, capacity degradation over the life of the product, then you don't have to oversize for to overcome the end of life degradation. So many chemical batteries give you a 5-6 year warranty, but basically what they say in that warranty is that at the end of 5 or 6 years, your battery is going to be 80% of the starting capacity. So therefore, if you need that capacity at the end of 5 years, you have to buy 20-30% more on day one to take care of the degradation. So that's a big savings. Then because there's no risk of thermal runaway ever, you don't need additional safety infrastructure required to protect or prevent in case there is thermal runaway. So there's another savings that you have. Because nominal capacity is always available, again, you have to oversize chemical batteries to take into account the depth of discharge. So for example, lead acid operates at 50%, so you have to buy twice as much to get what you want. Lithium ion operates at 80%, so you have to buy 1.25 times as much. So in our case, it's always 100%, so you save a lot on the initial capacity that you need to install. Then with a wide operating temperature range, and the fact that you're not generating heat during cycling, you are able to reduce your cooling. You don't need air conditioning as much. And because no heat is being generated during cycling, again, there's a big savings. You can, in fact, eliminate your air conditioning if the environment allows you. Because you have high C rate functionality, if you're charging from solar, you can charge in 1 or 2 hours the battery bank. If you're charging from diesel generators, you can charge it in 1 hour, so you reduce diesel generator runtime. If you're charging it from the grid, again, you can after a full discharge, you can have the battery ready in 1 hour, which allows availability of capacity in areas where the grid is not very reliable. So high C rate functionality of Sirius allows you to do that. And then because it's got a very high round trip efficiency, you save money in your generation bill. So if you're using solar, you use less PV panels with Sirius than you do with nickel, with the lead acid or lithium ion. And if you use the grid, obviously you save money because of the round trip efficiency. So it provides significant benefit to your customers. And then finally, the Sirius has a much longer cycle life. The Supercap cells are, have a cycle life of 1 million cycles, but the infrastructure in the module, which is the electronics and all, they don't have a 1 million cycle life. That's why our warranty is for 10 years. But the key difference is that our warranty is a no degradation warranty, which means capacity on day one is equal to capacity at the end of 10 years. This no chemical battery is offering at the moment, because they can't, because the electrolyte degrades with every cycle. I've done a small exercise between a chemical battery and a Sirius battery. So if you see the nameplate capacity, I've assumed is 1 kilowatt hour. In the case of Sirius, the depth of discharge is 100%. And in the case of a chemical battery, I've assumed it 80%. Then in the end of life capacity, again, Sirius is 100% and the chemical battery is 80%. So at the end of life, whether it's 5 years or 10 years, the Sirius will be 1 kilowatt hour. To get 1 kilowatt hour at the end of life, you buy 1 kilowatt hour of Sirius, but you have to buy 1.56 kilowatt hours of a chemical battery. So Sirius, you need to almost buy 60% more capacity to give the equivalent output over the warranty period as you would Sirius. That's a very important consideration when you are selling this product to customers and you're competing with all the chemical batteries and their pricing. The second area that you have to factor into it is that Sirius gives a 10-year standard warranty, no degradation. Whereas chemical batteries, I've taken an average of 5. You can, lead acid is 2-3 years. Some lithium ions, if they're used very, very, very carefully, can last 6, 7, 8 years. But on the average, I've taken 5 years. So in 10 years, to get an equivalent of 1 kilowatt hour every year, every day, every cycle with Sirius, you need 1 kilowatt hour. But if you want to use a chemical battery, you have to buy 3.125 kilowatt hours compared to the 1 kilowatt hour. This is a huge fundamental difference between supercap storage and chemical storage. So I reiterate, the output given by 1 kilowatt hour of Sirius is equal to 3.125 kilowatt hours of chemical batteries. Sometimes it'll be less than 3.125 kilowatts, sometimes it'll be more, but this is an average figure. So I, tend to sometimes hear that, per kilowatt hour cost is slightly higher than, lead acid and lithium ion. That is correct. But once you factor in the usable capacity and the warranty and the no degradation factors, the price of Sirius is actually cheaper than all chemical batteries in the world, including lead acid. Okay, so now I want to come into some of the applications. We have 4 primary verticals in Kilowatt Labs. Low voltage, where the product is 12 volt DC to 48 volt DC. In that we have supplying telecom, marine industry, industrial equipment like cleaning machines and these mechanized machinery, material handling like forklift, and power tools. In the consumer category, the products vary between 1.5 volt DC to 48 volt DC. Mostly it's the subsectors are solar plus storage, which is a very large part of our business. Then you have boating, campers, RVs. These are used all over the world, where there are a lot of lead acid 12 volt products, which we are replacing. Then in the rechargeable sector, we have AA, AAA cells. And in the SLI, that stands for starting, lighting, and ignition. It's basically cranking batteries. In the medium voltage section, we have up to 384 volt DC products. So these are deployed in microgrids, in UPSs, in data centers. In slow mobility includes, club cars and buses and mining locomotives, etc. And we are also doing a project with a company in the Philippines for jeepneys. They're using lead acid right now, and we are developing a 72 volt product for them to replace the lead acid with the supercap storage, in which they will be able to charge in 15 minutes from a regular charging point and get the same range. In the 1000 volt category, and then we have the high voltage category, which goes up to 1000 volt, which is grid storage and large scale storage for solar farms and wind farms. I'm just going into the products that we have. So in the telecom sector, which is the low voltage, we have a 6.7 kilowatt hour model, a 3.55 kilowatt hour model, and a 1 kilowatt hour model, which is being tested in the 5G applications in the US. In material handling, we have the 7.1 kilowatt hour model, which is used in forklifts. This has a C rate of, I think, 3 or 4 C. So you can charge it at 500 amps. In other words, you can charge it in about 20-30 minutes. And then your forklift is available again. And then we have a 2.8 kilowatt hour, 24 volt product for a cleaning machine, which also can charge in half an hour. This is our biggest range in solar plus storage. We have 12 volt pole embedded products. These are used for street lights and security poles. These actually fit inside a pole because they can withstand high temperatures and they don't have to be replaced for 10 years. We developed this for South Africa, where there's a lot of theft. People steal the batteries from the poles. So once you put them inside the pole, they become inaccessible. So this is 1 kilowatt hour and 500 watt hour. Then we have a smaller almost 9 kilowatt hour, 48 volt. And then the ones at the bottom are different sizes of 48 volt. And then we have a 24 volt product. So these are all available and are extensively used by our customers in solar plus storage applications. In the rechargeable cranking, we have a AA and AAA. The AA we are launching now, but the product is ready and available. And then we have a cranking product, which is again being launched recently. I think next month we'll launch it in some critical markets, but the product is available. In UPS and microgrid, we have a lot of business. We have a 384 volt and a 360 volt bank. So the microgrid bank is 360 volts and the UPS is 384 volts. These are storage banks that are connected to microgrids that are operating at these voltages. I just want to also address some product features. Each Sirius module has its own protection, over voltage, overcharge, over discharge, over current, short circuit, and over temperature. So in case the rectifier or the inverter fails, Sirius has its own protection functionalities that prevent any any faults occurring and spoiling the battery. The short circuit protection is very unique. It's based on a solid state relay. It's not based on circuit breakers. So it is able to, it provides extreme protection against short circuit. Every Sirius module comes with a comprehensive monitoring and control system, which can be operated remotely or at the site, providing from cell level to module level monitoring and control and remote monitoring as well. We are active currently in these three major markets. Solar plus storage, we have almost 3,000 modules installed in customer sites in Southern Africa, Kenya, Italy, Canada, Australia, Puerto Rico, New Zealand, Pakistan, UAE. And we are trying very hard now, this conversation we're having with you, to penetrate the Southeast Asian countries. In telecom, we have installations in Vietnam, Philippines, Indonesia, Bangladesh, UAE, Pakistan, Afghanistan, South Africa, USA, and Fiji. And in the microgrid, we have installations in Kenya, Malaysia, Germany, Sudan, and USA. In Sudan, actually, we're working with a very large UN-based aid agency. In fact, they are the ones that are running our biggest system of 250 kilowatt hours microgrid. So that, and it's in, I think, 11 sites, and we're rolling out in at least 30 to 40 more sites in Sudan with this agency. These are some pictures from all over the world. You see the one on the right, that's the pole system. That's in South Africa. Then this is in Kenya, Australia, Canada, Germany, all kinds of different applications, but mostly residential and commercial. As you can see, they're working with different types of inverters, Victron, Goodwe, Selectronics, and so on and so forth. So our products work with any inverter without any major changes required. So you have a plug and play opportunity if you're replacing lithium ion or lead acid. In the telecom sector, we have, as I told you, many applications. The one for the picture from second from the right is in Philippines, actually. Next to that is AT&T USA. Then there's Pakistan and other places. These are microgrids, Kenya, Sudan. The one on the right you see are the big systems in Sudan. And the one on the left is a application in Kenya. As you can see, it's a completely remote application. This is some forklift and club car. The club car actually we use in our own factory to get around. The one on the left is a South African customer this was a test they were doing. Now they've ordered to convert their lead acid fleet into Supercat based storage. These are UPS applications. The one on the right below is actually in a hospital running a CT scan. So pretty critical applications. Something about our company, we have distributors all over the world. You'll see Philippines as well in there, but our distributor in the Philippines is focused only on the telecom sector. They're not, their arrangement with us is they want to focus on the telecom sector. They don't want to focus on any other part of the business. But I think Philippines is a great opportunity for this product. However, we are available in many, many countries, and we are increasing and making this map more populated. And finally, our manufacturing facility is located in Dubai, Industrial City in Dubai. It's almost 15,000 square meters, where we do all our assembly of modules and R&D. And our capacity is 250 megawatt hours per year at the moment, but that's on a single shift. So in other words, we can go up to almost 1 gigawatt hour a year once we start ramping. By the end of this year, we will be making our own, we will be making supercaps in-house in this facility in Dubai, and all our electronic board production will also be in this facility in Dubai, which will make us a fully 100% integrated company with complete control over our supply chain. So that's it. That's from me. I'll stop sharing now, and I can open the door for questions. Any questions?
Ayun. Is there any question, Bro Dens, Bro Joel?
I have a question, sir.
Yes.
How are we going to charge the capacitor battery? It will work also just like a normal lead acid battery. No settings on the charge controller needed to be set.
Absolutely. The only settings you need to set, for example, if you're using a 48 volt product, then you will need to set the low voltage disconnect at 44 volts or 44.2 or 0.3 volts, and the high voltage disconnect at 54 volts. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
There's any question?
Couldn't find any question in the Facebook page. Oh, this is the question is how much? I think he's asking for the price.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
He is asking how much is the battery, like for example 48 volt system.
The wholesale price, depending on the volume, varies between $350 and $400 a kilowatt hour, X Works Dubai. But once you factor in all the aspects that I talked about, this product is cheaper than anything else in the market, because you don't replace amp hour for amp hour, because you replace 1.6 amp hour of chemical battery with 1 amp hour of ours. So you have a 60% advantage always in every application.
Hi, Omar. Hi, Omar.
Hi.
You have
I'm Rudy Romero. I'm the general manager of Gentromec company here in the Philippines. So I would like to ask,
Yeah.
because now I'm designing a system for a lot of solar powered irrigation, and I would like that the irrigation can work as well, even at nighttime, right? There's some areas that they need that water, irrigation water, not in the day, but it's at night, or
Okay.
in the late afternoon maybe. So what are your standard capacity?
What?
What are your standard capacity in terms of kilowatt hour?
So I'm assuming that you're going to have solar charging.
No, I'm going to use this. I'm going to use this capacitor as my storage
No, no, no. I'm saying what voltage are you operating at? Because we have products
Well,
across many voltage. 48
Well,
volts?
I have a single phase 220. I have three phase 220. I have also
No, no, DC voltage. What is the
380.
voltage of your
Oh,
inverter?
sorry. The DC voltage for a small pumps about 300 320. But for the higher capacity SPIS, that around 550.
DC?
Yes,
So your inverter is going to be 550 volt DC?
yes. Well, I'm working on a big solar powered irrigation system. For your
Okay,
information.
so if you, so so that comes into our medium voltage applications. The biggest medium voltage application we have is our 384 volt product. Okay.
I'm sorry,
However,
again, please.
our
300,
largest medium volt application we have is 384 volts DC.
300,
Okay.
384 volts DC.
Yes, yes. But if you want 550 volts, then we can develop something for you because the fundamental technology allows us to give you any voltage you want.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. Anyway, this 384 is okay for me. I
Sorry?
can use it for up to. This 384 is okay for me. This is acceptable for me.
Okay, so
384 volts.
we have two products in the 384 volt range. One is 5.9 kilowatt hours and one is 11.4 kilowatt hours.
5.9
Kilowatt
kilowatt
hour.
hour. And
And
the
one
other one
is
is
11.4. 11.4.
11.4.
Yeah, and you can parallel them as many as you want.
So it depends, huh?
Yeah. So whatever capacity you want, you can add the capacity by using either the 5.9 in parallel or the 11.4 in parallel.
Okay, sure. Anyway, okay, that's only my question for now.
Sure.
So I'm going to give you my email. Then if you can just send it to me the data sheet, please, for my
Yeah.
technical reference.
Yeah, sure, sure. You can also get it from the Kilowatt Labs website.
Yeah, I think you can put it on the chat, the email and everything,
Yeah,
so that
sure.
Omer can get
Yeah.
it. Omer, in your discussion and your presentation, as we are one of the users of the system, maybe you also want to highlight not only the battery storage, but also your server Centauri solution. And the reason for that is because of its advanced functionality and features that we are using in our organization. For example, we're using an alternate solution, which is SMA, but we found that the Century solution that you have for inverter or servers, as you call it in Kilowatt Labs, is a very powerful tool. Do you want to mention that?
Sure. Maybe I think once we get through all the questions with the Sirius, then I'll give 15 minutes to the server and explain what the server is, and I'll be able to answer questions around that. Actually, thank you very much, Geronimo, because that's the second product actually that Kilowatt Labs has invented and is supplying. But let me just handle the serious questions. If there are none, I can move on. If there are, then I'll be happy to answer them.
Okay,
Another
I think
question,
we can
sir.
go on for now.
One more question. For
Okay.
this battery, we can also bank like series parallel for all the to make it bigger voltage or to attain the voltage that we required. Same with the capacity.
Yes, yes and no. We have basically a product for every voltage range. So we recommend that the voltage, you can put them in series, but we prefer to put them either in series or in parallel. That's why if you have if you see our product portfolio, it's across many voltage ranges, which are very commercially acceptable and in demand. And if you have a project which has got a reasonably high level of demand and it's a unique voltage range, then we are always very easily we can develop a product for that. Like for the jeepney, they require 72 volts. That's not our standard product, so we are just built a 72-volt product for them. But you have 12 volt, 24 volt, 48 volt, 192 volt, 384 volt. These are all available as standard products, which you can then put in parallel to achieve your capacity.
Okay, thank you.
Sir Rudy, you have some more question?
I think I have to I have to ask, but I don't have question now. But I rather like to ask Mr. Omar the data sheet of
Sure.
this the data sheet of this 11.4 kilowatt 384 volts DC.
Sorry, can you repeat, please?
Now I don't have any more question. But what
Okay.
I like from you is you send me the data sheet of this 11.4 kilowatt ampere 11.4 kilowatt hour
I will.
384 volts. So
I will.
I might be needing a lot of this.
Okay, good. I'll be happy to supply you a lot of them.
Okay, sure.
Okay. So if there are no more questions, I'll go into what we call the Centauri energy server that Geronimo suggested just now. Thank you, Geronimo. Basically, when you install a solar plus storage system, this is, I'm talking about outside of residential. I'm talking about 20 kilowatts and above load. You have to have PV inverters, battery inverters, bus bar, microgrid controller, safeties, remote manager, and so many other things. And then you have to buy them from different vendors, and then you have to put them all together, and you have to synchronize them, and you have to work within the limitations of the different products, and that's how you build a system. And a couple of limitations of these systems is that they are unable to operate at or accept high load, high inrush currents or high torque loads. For example, when you start a pump or you start a compressor or you start an air conditioner, the inrush currents can go up to 400 or 500% the rated capacity. These inverters can't handle that. So you have all these complications in which you have to separate the critical loads from the non-critical loads and manage all this. So it's a very, very difficult and cumbersome process if you are using the conventional method. The energy server, the Centauri energy server, is one device which delivers all these functionalities. You have the input side where you can connect any AC or DC generation source. So you can connect PV, you can connect the grid, you can connect the generator, you can connect wind, you can connect all of them at the same time. And you just need to connect the cables to the input ports in the server. You don't have to do anything else. And then you also can connect the storage to this, to the storage input port of the server. So that's on the generation and storage side. On the output side, you connect the AC output port of the server directly to the main distribution board of the customer or of the load. The inverter that we use has been designed and developed internally by us. It can take 1000% torque load handling for 2 seconds. So basically, it is enough to start anything, basically like a motor or compressor. So you don't have to oversize inverters. And because the unit is one, the microgrid controller, which is the software that we have developed, manages all the different input sources, output sources, and load together. So you have a very comprehensive and fully integrated management and hardware system. So for example, in a legacy or a conventional system, when the load, when there is solar intermittency, then the microgrid controller has to read that there's the voltage has gone down, then it has to find some other source, either the battery or the diesel generator or the grid, to provide the extra voltage. And this takes a few seconds. And by that time, the intermittency has gone by and something has tripped. In the server, these things are not happening because everything is being managed through one internal bus bar, which is energized by all the input sources. And the microgrid controller, our microgrid software, controls all the input sources. So when the voltage drops, it drops on the bus bar, but not on the inverter, because the microgrid controller finds the other sources which are already energizing the bus bar, so that there is a 0.0 second seamless switch over to another source, and the load is never affected and never trips. In addition to that, you are limited by the size of your PV inverters in terms of the capacity that you can install in solar. So, PV inverter to PV capacity is about 1:1. So if you want to install 100 kilowatts of PV panels, you need 100 kilowatt of of PV inverters. In the server, you can go up to 5 times. So if you have a 100 kilowatt inverter, which means a 100 kilowatt server, which means you are able to handle up to 100 kilowatt load, to this server, you can connect up to 500 kilowatt of PV without oversizing anything. So what this does is it allows you to genuinely provide 24-hour power and not depend on diesel to manage the ride-throughs, torque loads, and extra energy consumption required, because you're limited in the way and in the quantity of that you can design. It's a completely plug-and-play system. You don't, basically, when you buy the energy server, you don't have to buy anything else in terms of hardware and software. Nothing, zero. You connect the storage, you connect the input sources, and you connect the output, and that's it. And that's what Geronimo was referring to, because the applications and the sites and the deployments that we're doing with Geronimo are extremely remote, and you can't have these conventional systems that have breakdowns all the time because of there not being syncing or all kinds of problems. So the server, I think, is a very powerful replacement. It costs half, basically, of when you put all the things together, the PV inverter, the battery inverter, all these different items together, the server costs about half of that. So it's economically very inexpensive, and it's functionally many times more efficient and has many more functionalities. For example, it corrects power factor losses caused by motors and compressors and air conditioners running on your line. It connects, it filters harmonics. So all this is being done internally, and it optimizes the running of the load. So for microgrid applications, we have a solution which consists of the energy server and the storage all fitted out into one container, 24, 10, 44 different sizes, different battery banks. And this container comes to the site, and all you have to do is connect the PV and the output cable, and you have a functional system. It's very easy to install, very fast to commission, and it has a very low rate of faults. So for those of you who are in the microgrid business, especially in the 20 kilowatt hour and 20 kilowatt load and up, I think this should be a very good solution for you to look at. And I think in the so many islands in Philippines, this could be a very, very useful solution to work with in using solar as the input source.
Yeah, Omer, just in the interest of everyone, maybe just to highlight, in one of your presentations, you actually have the kilowatt servers just beside the batteries. If you can go back to that presentation, you could actually highlight that one of the advantage of your system is that it requires minimum cabling, and it's like a very clean setup, in the sense that, at least in the setup that we have had here for the locations that we have implemented, it's very clean. Maybe we were rushing at the time of the presentation. I just wanted to go back to that one for them to see especially the part where you mentioned the containerized solutions and everything, because that's really an advantage, especially if you're trying to put it, Sir Rudy, doon I'll talk in Tagalog, okay? In the pump area, sir, kasi high tawag dito, high voltage requirement, low frequency ang kailangan nyo. So that's something that might be of interest to you. More importantly, as he mentioned, it can handle up to 5 times the load. So it's really important to mention that. Yes.
Yeah, so as you can see, this container, I'm sharing my screen right now. As you can see, this container it comes fully fitted, and this picture, if you can see my pointer, this picture is the inside of this is a 20 kilowatt server. This is a 56.8 kilowatt battery bank. This was going to Somalia. And yeah, as you can see, this is the end completed product. This is what it looks like. You can see these boxes here. These are the distribution boxes for all the internal cabling, and these are the combiner boxes. So the PV comes and connects from the outside into this combiner box. And next to this combiner box is the AC output box. All the cabling is, the battery banks are all cabled, and it's underground. And on this, you see these silver pipes. This is all the cabling. And the AC cabling from the customer comes and connects here, and that's it. And you have the energy server. This is the energy server. This is the control panel. And you have another panel here. This was slightly older design. We have another panel here, which we connect microgrid view. Geronimo has those. This is a bigger system. This is a 250 kilowatt hour system. This is the this is the 250 kilowatt hour system that's gone to Geronimo's, one of Geronimo's sites. This is a side shot of it. This is a 115 kilowatt hour system, which is installed in Kenya. As you can see, you don't see any cabling, nothing. It's all fully fitted and sent from our factory in Dubai in this manner. And all you have to do is the external cabling of the PV and the load, the AC and the DC. So it's completely plug and play. When we design the system, we work very closely with you for the parameters. And so the setup time, commissioning time is maybe a day or two, depending on the complexity of your external requirement.
Omar,
Yes.
I'm interested with that. The last. Can you show me the picture, please? The one, your slide, please. Can you share it to me now?
Yeah, sure. Hold on.
Please
Sorry, I thought we were done.
close it. Yeah, that one. That one on the upper right. See, the last microgrid I installed is 200 kilowatt hour. That's why I'm very interested with it.
Yes. The one that we have in Geronimo's site is 250 kilowatt hour.
Okay,
We are making a couple. We're just sending one to the US. One is already installed in the US, which is a 200 kilowatt hour. Geronimo's is the biggest, but there's another 200 kilowatt hour one installed in the US. We're shipping today another 200 kilowatt hour one to the US again. And there's a third one, which is going to Somalia, which is 216 kilowatt hours.
So, but anyway, in case, sorry to disturb. In case, can we double the capacity? We can do that?
Yeah. I mean, so in the 1 second.
Yes, Sir Rudy, in link to your discussion, as we're waiting for Omer, they actually have a 40 kilowatt solution, and they have a 1 megawatt solution in a 40-foot container. Maybe, Omer, you also want to highlight that you have a solution that's the one megawatt in a 40-foot container.
Yeah.
Yes.
So basically on the sizing side, when you want to add more capacity, we just fill more containers and parallel them.
Yeah.
So there's no limit, upper limit to the capacity.
Okay, for example, this 384 volts DC, right?
Yeah.
So how long you can, how, I'm sorry, for this 200, let's say for this 250 kilowatt hour, how long you can charge that? The fastest possible time you can charge those storage.
If you have 250 kilowatt hour bank, okay, you can charge it in 1 hour. If,
1 hour.
yeah, if you have the power, if you have 250 kilowatt available to charge it, this bank can charge in 1 hour.
Yeah, of course. I can handle my source.
Yes.
What I'm asking is the storage, because that's the one I'm very much interested with.
Yes, you can charge it in 1 hour.
Okay, it's good.
Sir Rudy, you may want also to consider maybe adding also some wind
Yes.
turbine solutions in addition to the power bank, because that's one of the things that we're working with Omer in our setup, because we're expanding for another 2 megawatt solution for our organization. So just to give you a heads up, I've gone through a lot of these headaches, and this is why Omer keeps on always referring to me as Geronimo. But Omer, I'm actually June Turgo in the Facebook account, so that's why people are wondering who Geronimo is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe if we can maybe after this because you have a lot of there's a lot of what you call it, there's a lot of watching us right now. So anyway, you may continue
Yes.
your discussion. Then we'll have to talk it later on.
Yes, yes, we can listen. We can organize an offline Zoom call, and I can go into in-depth details of your projects and microgrid solutions and containerized solutions and capacity solutions. It's no problem. We have a lot. I focus this webinar, to keep it simple, I focus it on Sirius, but we have an extensive range of product for renewable solutions, which is around the Centauri server and the Sirius storage. We have extremely creative answers to your problems.
Okay, sure.
I see. Brodens, is there any question? Who's
Hello. Yeah, I think no other questions except for they're interested for the retail price. So maybe we will just wait for how will it happen that individual user can purchase in retail, not in bulk.
So actually, one of the important things here is that one is for me to explain and promote what our product does. We would like, our preference is that to engage with a company that can be a distributor. Because selling one unit at a time, it's no problem for us because we have thousands of units in stock. It's no problem for us, but it requires support. Installers take a bit of time to understand how to switch it on, user manuals. Sometimes there are problems, they have to be solved. So that is very difficult to do between Dubai, New York, and Manila and Philippines. That's why our primary attempt is to find and engage with a company that can partner with us and become our distributor for Philippines in this sector, because we already have a partner in the telco sector, but they are very focused on telco. They don't want to do any of all this. We need, so therefore we are engaging with a couple of other companies and would like to hear from companies that are in the distribution business who would like to partner with us. So, their job will be to carry stock and supply to retail customers and installers, and we will deal with them. We will provide training, marketing, and technical support. that is really the way we move forward on the retail side of the business. If someone asks me for one module, I'll sell it to him because I'm a sales guy. I'll sell even half a module. But there's a lot of work that needs to be done around that sale, which is purely technical, and it doesn't make economic sense if we go one by one. We are not, we don't have the resources to do that. That's why we have distributors in every country. So if there are distributors out there, I'll be happy to entertain conversations and see how we can collaborate.
Then you got already one
Ah.
distributor. That's Sir Rudy.
Yeah, I think that's the best solution.
You said earlier that you often go to Manila. I think if you're in Manila, maybe you can contact Sir Rudy Romero. So I think you have a lot to talk about your supercapacitor.
I can contact who?
Sir
No,
Rudy Romero.
no, Joel has said, when you come, the next time you come to Manila, then you can visit my office.
Okay. Okay, I
See,
will. I
now,
will,
now
because I've been there 3-4 times, and it's been mostly concentrated on my meetings with the telecom operators. I met one other company. I forget the name. Solar Philippines. It's a big company, but I met somebody really junior who didn't quite understand what I was talking about. But I'm definitely very keen to establish a partnership in Philippines around the distribution and microgrid business. It's a very big opportunity, and I think Kilowatt Labs has the real solution for these problems.
actually you came on the right time. You know, you came on the right time because Nia just called me a while ago. And they asked me to design a much bigger system than what a much bigger than what I have done. You know, the biggest storage I made, as I told you earlier, is that 200 kilowatt hour. But what I want is a much bigger with a higher discharge and charge rate, and that's why I'm very much interested with your supply, with your system.
Yeah, yeah. Look, 1C is very easy. 1C is you can close your eyes. You don't even have to ask me and design as much as you want. We can go up to 10C also, but those are slightly more complex systems, not because the supercaps can't handle 10C, but the infrastructure, the bus bars, the sensors, the cabling, that has to be designed by us. So, we can engage in this a little bit later again, but I mean, it's difficult. It's not a problem. But from a technical perspective, 1C, you don't have to even ask me.
Okay. Actually, I have a chat now with June regarding this.
Okay,
I'm talking to him.
sure, sure.
Yes, like I say, if ever when you here in Manila, you should visit Sir Rudy Romero's office so you can talk personally about your products, Omar.
I will be happy to. I can talk to Rudy before my visit also, because I don't know when I'm going to visit, all this lockdowns and all. But anyway, so thank you. Is there any more questions, comments?
Yeah, I think just a comment, Omer, maybe next time there's a solar convention, whenever COVID is cleared and the lockdown is open and the ECQ is stopped. Even me, I can't go to the Philippines yet, but I'm hoping that you could also participate in that, because
Yes, yes.
I think
I
we need
have full
to
intentions of
revolutionize and change the way we work.
Yes, yes. I have full intentions of participating in a conference or an exhibition. Actually, we this year, 2020, our plan was to really, because we've been very below the radar as we've gone through our development phase over the last 3-4 years. But 2020 is the year that we had strategically decided to basically really raise the level of marketing and awareness. And we had booked many shows, and we had booked 6, 7 shows in the first 6 months. And I was in Japan in February. That's when I also came to Manila, starting off with Battery Japan. But after that, everything just shut down. So all our plans went went down the drain. But when it opens, God willing, the world gets back to normal, or there's some semblance of normality. I'm definitely going to participate in exhibitions in Southeast Asia, Philippines, Indonesia. These are big markets for opportunities for us.
One more question, sir, about the Sirius battery
Sure.
or supercapacitor. What is the self-discharge rate?
2% per month.
2% per what?
Per month.
Okay, thank you. Per month.
Okay, I think most of the questions are in the retail part, which we could not give answer now until we have that one main distributor here in the Philippines.
Look, for the retail guys, it's very simple. It's just a matter of price. If they're all interested in price, then I can give a price of about $500 per kilowatt hour. That
Say that again, sir. $500 per.
at a retail level. Obviously, I'm putting in a particular margin for the distributor. But so the first thing is, everyone says that's too expensive, but that's why I highlighted the fact that in effect this $500 is equal to $150 of lithium ion, because you have to buy 3 times the amount of lithium ion to get the same result as you would from us. However, I understand price sensitive markets, sometimes upfront expenditures are, even though on the longer term it's much better, but people just don't have the money to pay 500, and they have the money to pay 150, and every 3-4 years they keep replacing it. That's really not the market that we operate in. We operate in the market that does require or has the capacity to function at this price. Obviously, what happens is that this 500 goes down to 375, 400 if there's a distributor, because what the distributor can do is buy in large quantities from us, and in large quantities will allow him to get a much lower price in the 300s, and then when he adds his margin, that comes to around 400. So that's why we want a distributor, because retail is not efficient and therefore not economical. But for the sake of conversation, people on the webinar can think about $400 to $500 per kilowatt hour.
Okay, then. So I would like to show Omar, so that at least he has an idea. Okay, I'm going to show you my screen, Omar, please.
Sure.
Have you seen it? See it?
Yeah.
Actually, this is the one which I told you, similar to what you have done. This is a 200 kilowatt hour capacity, which I run for my 30 kilowatt pump.
This is 200 kilowatt hour capacity of lead acid.
No. This is my storage capacity for my This is a microgrid, by the way. So this is my 200.
No, just let me ask you one question. Yeah, this is 200 kilowatt hour of lead acid. What's it, lead acid or nickel cadmium, or what is it?
No, this one is of the gel type
Gel.
OPC.
OPZ. Okay. So this is 200 kilowatt hours of nominal capacity.
Yes.
That means right away you will start with 100 kilowatt hours of Sirius, which is equal to this 200 kilowatt hours.
Yeah. But actually, what I wanted is a much bigger than this, at a higher discharge rate, and a high capability to charge, high charge rate and high discharge rate. Really, this one is that's the reason why I'm very much interested with that.
Sure.
You know. Yeah, you're correct. This one is the dependable capacity of this one is about 100 kilowatt hour only,
Yes.
considering a 50% depth of discharge.
Yes. And you get about 3-4 years of life?
No, this one is about 3,500 cycles. At
That's 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how long ago did you install it?
Well, I just finished it last month, 3 months ago.
Okay. So you have some time before you swap it out.
Yeah. But I already deal with this type of batteries before. 10 years, 12 years ago, I already deal with it. That's why I still use it. But
Yeah.
when
Do you cycle these
I saw
every
your
day?
presentation, by the way. When I
Do
saw
you
your
cycle these
presentation-
every day?
I'm sorry?
Do you
Yes,
cycle
they're
them
using-
every day?
Yes, they're using it every day.
Okay. All right. So yeah, it's 1C is very easy. And this was 360 volt DC, by the way.
480 volts.
380 volts. Yeah. So 384 will work for you.
Yeah. It's okay. Your 384 volts will work because this one, I can make it.
Yeah.
I can make it. I can relate to your. I can comply your 384. By the way,
Yeah.
I can
No
adapt
problem.
with that if it needs to. This is the one.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
And you use VFD controllers?
Yes,
Okay.
I use 57 kilowatt VFD pump
Okay.
inverter for that 40 horsepower pump. It's a 380 volt. I'm sorry, 40 volts, by the way.
And tell me, what is the size of the solar panel?
Well, my solar panel is about 35 kilowatt.
35 kilowatts.
Yeah, the problem, well, my solar panel is that that's only the capacity because of the space.
Yes.
The area is, the area is small. But
I get
on
that.
my other projects, area there's no, what I mean, I can install 200, 300 kilowatt, doesn't matter. I have a much bigger area now for my new
Okay.
project now.
Okay, so we can use the energy server as well.
Yes, sure. So
And
if you can,
the pumps are 40 kilowatts, 40 horsepower?
yeah, 40 horsepower. But now I'm designing a system about 100 horsepower now.
Yeah, that's about
I'm
80
designing a-
kilowatts.
Sorry?
That's about 80 kilowatts.
Yes, that's, 80, 75 kilowatt.
Yeah. So we would give you a 100 kilowatt server. You can connect 300-400 kilowatts of solar to it, and you can connect as much battery as you want.
Okay. So,
And that's
can
it.
you, if you can send me later on, you can send me the data sheet or link where I can find your, where I can find your, where I can find the
Sure,
selection
sure.
of what you have.
I
I
will.
mean system you have.
Yes, I will.
Thank you, Omar. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Is there any question, Brodens?
So far, there's no other question except for those same questions that they have. So I think we will just wait for any further development of if there's anyone that could actually get the distributorship here in the Philippines.
I see. Okay. Uh, if there's no question, I think we can end this live. Am I right?
Yeah, yeah. I think we could end the live streaming, and then we could we could still talk with Sir Omar for some clarifications that we have. We will just stop the live streaming now, Sir Omar, but
Sure.
we have some more questions for you that for people were interested on how to get the
No
products here
problem.
in
I'm
Manila.
available.
Ayun. Don't go offline in Zoom, Sir Omer. Uh, Thank you very much for our fellow Solarista for listening to our discussion now. Thank you, Sir Omer, Gani, for
Thank you very much for
being our
inviting me. It's
speaker.
been a pleasure.
Thank you, Sir Jun Turgo. Thank you, Sir Romero. And thank you, Bro Joel Romeo.
I,
Uh,
I, I think I would like to thank Dennis Ortiz for organizing it very smoothly. Thank you very much. And Omer, really, really thank you despite your difficult schedule as we had to change
No, it's a
several
pleasure.
times.
It's a
Thank you.
pleasure to be with you, gentlemen, and I'm really grateful for you to make the effort, Geronimo, and of course, Denz. It's very kind of you, and very nice meeting you, Rudy. So let's hope we can get something going.
Yeah, you're welcome, Sir Omar, and we hope to meet you in person very soon if you
Sure.
come here to Manila. Okay, so I think hold on, I'll just go to my computer to turn off the live streaming.
Ayun. Once again, thank you, Sir Omer, Gani, and
Thank
Sir
you.
Jun Turgo.